Imagine sitting in a small, dark room, staring at a bright monitor.
Okay, I am picturing it.
And on that screen, a flying camera feeds you live video of a road that is thousands of miles away.
Right, so you are very far from the actual location.
Exactly. You see movement on the screen, and you have maybe 5 seconds to decide if that movement is a threat.
That is a heavy, terrible responsibility.
It really is. But now, I want you to imagine a completely different scenario. Imagine you do not make that decision at all.
Wait, you don't make the choice?
No. Imagine a machine looks at that screen, processes the movement, and makes the decision for you in a fraction of a second.
Wow. That changes everything.
It does. And it brings us to the core question of our deep dive today. How will artificial intelligence change the future of war?
It is perhaps the most profound question of our time. And it is a question that requires us to slow down, put our assumptions aside, and look very carefully at the reality of modern conflict.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring a fascinating and sobering set of materials today. We are looking straight at the intersection of artificial intelligence and the battlefield.
And we're going to walk through this information very carefully.
Yes, our mission today is to explore how drones in the sky, robots on the ground, and invisible cyber networks are changing everything we know about security.
We are also going to weigh the clear, life-saving benefits of AI against its deep, complex moral risks.
Right. But before we start, we need to set some ground rules for you, the listener, just to set the stage for our discussion today.
Yes, this is very important. We are going to rely strictly on the provided documents.
Only the text we have in front of us.
Exactly. We are not here to debate politics or, take sides on global conflicts. Our goal is simply to unpack the research and the arguments exactly as they are presented.
We want to understand the facts, the warnings, and the difficult questions the authors are asking, just reporting the information step by step.
Exactly. So where does the material start?
Well, before we can truly understand where artificial intelligence is taking us, we have to understand how we arrived at this moment. The material actually begins by looking backward.
Right. It gives us a history of technology and conflict.
Yeah. It notes that war has always changed alongside technology. The timeline in the text starts in ancient times.
Ancient times. We are talking about basic tools.
Exactly. Tools like swords, horses, and bows.
And if we look closely at that ancient era, we can see a defining characteristic. The technology of that time forced combat to be incredibly close.
Because a sword or a horse requires you to be right next to the event?
Right. You have to be physically present.
Okay, let's unpack this. It is like a timeline of distance. First, humans had to be physically close to fight. They were right next to the danger.
But then, the historical timeline moves forward to later eras. We see the invention of guns.
Which pushed people a little further apart.
Yes. Then tanks. Then airplanes, missiles, satellites, and computers.
It is a timeline of increasing distance.
What is fascinating here is this continuous expansion of space. With a gun, the distance grows. With an airplane, you are thousands of feet above the ground.
And with a missile, you might be hundreds of miles away.
Exactly. The tools move from being physical, close-up instruments to distant mechanical systems.
They created a massive physical space between the person making the decision and the impact of that decision.
And now the research points to today. Today, artificial intelligence is entering the picture as a completely new force.
So we have swords, then missiles, and now AI. But why is this specific change so monumental?
Well, because artificial intelligence is not just creating physical distance. It is creating a completely new kind of separation.
What do you mean by a new kind of separation?
We are moving from tools that throw a physical object like an arrow or a missile to tools that process information. The distance is no longer just measured in miles. It is a mental distance.
Ah, I see. A distance from the actual decision-making.
Exactly. For thousands of years, a human mind had to process the environment, make a judgment, and execute an action. A human pulled the bowstring.
A human aimed the airplane.
Right. But with computers, and especially with artificial intelligence, the machine is taking on a larger share of the processing.
The machine is doing a form of the thinking.
Yes, that is the big shift.
I want you, the listener, to really imagine how quickly things have moved. We went from basic computers just a few decades ago to advanced AI systems today.
It is a very fast change.
Imagine how that must feel on a battlefield, everything moving so quickly.
The documents reflect that exact sense of rapid change. AI is not just one single weapon. It is a technology that changes many different systems at once.
What kind of systems?
The research lists drones, robots, cybersecurity, data analysis, and autonomous weapons. These are all separate areas, but they're all being altered by AI simultaneously.
Okay, let us transition from the broad history and zoom in on the first specific technology mentioned in the source.
We are looking at the sky first.
Yes, the world of drones. The text gives us a very clear definition of a drone to start.
It defines a drone as an aircraft without a human pilot inside.
Right, no human in the cockpit. And taking the human out changes the entire design. But how does AI specifically change the drone? We have had remote-controlled planes for a long time.
That is true. The early versions of drones were heavily reliant on humans. A person on the ground held a controller and flew the aircraft.
Like a remote-control toy, just much bigger.
Exactly. Then we moved to semi-automatic drones, which could follow basic paths. But the introduction of AI brings a new level of ability to the machine.
The research lists very specific ways AI helps these aircraft. First, it notes that AI helps drones fly more safely.
Right. If we break down what it means to fly an aircraft, it involves constantly checking wind speed, altitude, and surrounding obstacles.
That is a lot for a human to manage from far away.
Yes, but an AI system can process all of this environmental information continuously. It adjusts the aircraft without a human needing to push a lever.
It keeps the drones safe in the air. Then the text points out that AI helps drones detect objects.
This is a huge change. It is not just flying. It is looking at the ground and understanding what it sees.
It is the difference between a camera that just records video and a computer that actually recognizes a truck or a building or a person.
Exactly. The document also mentions collecting images, mapping an area, and supporting search and rescue operations.
The text gives a great example of this. Instead of sending soldiers into danger first, a drone collects information from the air.
Right. Imagine a commander needs to know what is inside a dangerous valley.
Sending human soldiers walking into an unknown situation is very risky, so they send a drone.
The drone flies over, collects the video, processes it, and gives the commander a clear picture to help them understand the situation.
Another example the text gives is analyzing video. A drone can collect hours and hours of video.
But a human watching 10 hours of video gets tired. Their attention drifts.
But the AI does not get tired. The text says AI can analyze those hours of video quickly to find unusual patterns.
It acts as an assistant, saving a lot of time.
Here is where it gets really interesting. The text also notes serious risks with drones.
Yes, it warns about making them too autonomous.
It mentions careless use harming civilians. And it specifically mentions the risk of hacking.
Hacking is a very big concern in the text.
Here is my question for you to think about. If a drone is hacked, doesn't our own protective shield become a dangerous weapon against us?
What is fascinating here is how the text answers that. It warns that technology should never remove human responsibility.
So if we rely on AI to watch the video and fly the drone, who is responsible when it makes a mistake?
That is exactly the problem. If a completely independent machine makes a mistake, the machine cannot take the blame.
The text says the human has to stay in charge.
Always. Human responsibility is key.
Okay, so drones take care of the air. But what about the physical ground? Let's move from flying cameras to moving machines on the earth.
We are talking about robots now.
Well, boots on the ground or, well, metal tracks on the ground. The text defines a robot as a machine performing tasks automatically or semi-automatically.
And it discusses their roles. These robots are designed to take on dangerous tasks.
Like inspecting dangerous areas, carrying supplies, and removing explosive materials.
The text actually takes time to define a specific word here. Logistics.
Logistics. What does the text say that means?
It defines logistics as moving supplies, equipment, food, fuel, and medicine to where they are needed.
Getting a truck full of medicine down a ruined road is incredibly difficult.
And dangerous. Which is why using a robot to carry those supplies keeps human drivers safer.
The disaster response examples provided in the text are really helpful here.
Yes, like searching damaged buildings after an earthquake.
If a building is damaged, sending a human rescue worker inside is terrifying. The building could collapse.
But a robot can go in. The text also mentions inspecting unsafe areas and fires.
Right. But as I read this part, the text makes a major shift. We move away from engineering questions, like how a robot avoids obstacles.
Yes, it moves into deep moral questions.
The big question is, should robots use force?
This is where the authors want us to stop and think.
I have a foundational question based on the text. If a robot is just a machine, Why do we even discuss things like compassion?
That is a very good point.
I mean, a robot does not have human judgment, so why do we act surprised when it cannot make a moral choice?
Well, the text explains that because machines lack human compassion and moral responsibility, humans must remain in control.
So the danger is not that the robot is evil, like in some movie.
No, not at all. The danger is that the robot feels absolutely nothing at all.
It is just empty. It has no compassion.
Exactly. And because it feels nothing, it cannot make a moral choice.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, we have talked about physical machines, drones, and robots, but all these machines and our whole world run on invisible networks.
Which leads us to the next section, cybersecurity.
The invisible battlefield. The text defines cybersecurity as protecting computer systems, networks, data, and digital infrastructure.
And the list of systems that depend on computers is huge.
The text lists banks, hospitals, airports, power grids, government agencies, and the military.
All of them rely entirely on computer networks.
So how does AI fit into this? The text discusses the dual nature of AI here.
Dual nature, meaning it has two very different sides. First, AI is a shield.
It detects unusual behavior, right?
Yes, it finds threats and analyzes large amounts of data quickly.
Because human experts cannot see every threat in time. The data moves too fast.
Exactly. AI works as a very fast shield. But the text says AI is also a weapon.
How is it a weapon?
Bad actors can use AI to create fake messages, spread misinformation, and find weaknesses in those networks.
So the same tool that protects a hospital can be used to attack it.
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it creates a new kind of competition.
A digital race.
A digital race where speed is everything. The fastest computer wins.
I want to remind you, the listener, about what this means. This isn't just about soldiers far away.
No, it is much closer to home.
This is about the bank you use, or the hospital in your town. The text says ordinary people need stronger digital protection, too.
It affects everyone.
So with all these scary concepts like hacking and weaponized robots, a listener might ask, why develop this technology at all?
That is a fair question.
Yeah.
But the text lays out 5 clear benefits of AI defense.
Yes. Let's transition to those benefits. Number 1, reducing risk for soldiers.
By sending machines into dangerous areas, fewer humans have to go.
Number 2, faster decision support.
AI can analyze satellite images, drone images, weather, and communication signals all at once.
It helps leaders make decisions faster in an emergency. Number 3 is stronger national defense.
Right. And number 4 is very interesting. Better disaster response.
This shows the peaceful applications mentioned in the text. It lists floods, wildfires, hurricanes, and earthquakes.
If we connect this to what we discussed earlier, AI defense technology is not only about fighting.
It is about saving lives when a natural disaster hits.
The text makes a strong case that these tools are equally important for those peaceful situations.
And the 5th benefit is less human exposure to danger.
Like clearing hazardous materials or delivering emergency supplies, machines do the dangerous work.
So the benefits are very clear. But the text says these incredible benefits come with profound moral risks.
We have to look at the deep ethical abyss.
The text asks its most serious question here. Should machines decide life and death?
To answer that, the text defines an autonomous weapon.
An autonomous weapon. What is the exact definition?
A system that can select and attack targets with little or no human control.
Little or no human control. That is a frightening idea.
The text discusses the specific risks. First, the lack of conscience and compassion, which we talked about.
Right. And then it talks about the speed causing conflict to escalate and civilian harm through misidentification.
This brings us to what the text calls the responsibility problem.
Let's slowly walk through this because the text lists who we might blame for a deadly mistake.
Okay. If an autonomous weapon makes a mistake, who do we blame? Do we blame the soldier?
The soldier didn't make the choice. Do we blame the commander?
The commander wasn't flying it. What about the programmer?
The programmer wrote the code years ago. Do we blame the company that built it?
Or the government that bought it?
Or do we blame the machine itself? The text says deciding who to blame is very difficult.
It is a massive problem. If no one is responsible, we lose control.
And speaking of losing control, I want to push back on the concept of speed here.
What do you mean?
Well, we usually think faster technology is better. A faster computer, a faster phone.
Right.
But the text warns that if machines respond too quickly, a conflict may escalate before humans can slow it down.
Escalate meaning it gets worse very fast.
It is a paradox.
Yeah.
Our fast machines might make us lose control, We build them to be in charge, but they move so fast we can't stop them.
And this leads strictly to what the text calls the AI arms race.
If many countries rush to build this fast technology, the text says the world becomes less stable.
Because everyone is just trying to build the fastest machine without thinking about safety.
So what is the solution? The text calls for legal rules, ethical standards, and international discussion.
Nations have to talk to each other to set rules.
Okay, we have covered a lot. Let's synthesize all these previous parts to arrive at the author's final personal view presented in the text.
Final verdict.
The text states that AI defense is necessary to protect people and infrastructure. We need the cyber shields and the drones.
But it also states that war is fundamentally a human problem.
A human problem involving life, death, suffering, and morality.
Let's break down the final quotes in the text. It says, AI can support decision-making, but must not replace human responsibility.
It can support us, but not replace us.
Exactly. The central question changes. It is no longer, can we build this technology?
Because we already know we can build it.
Right. The question is now, should we use this technology, and how should we control it?
That is a very powerful question, and it is something you, the listener, must think carefully about in the modern world.
It affects all of our futures.
So let's wrap up our journey today. We have tracked the evolution of weapons from ancient swords to modern AI.
We examined how AI changes drones in the sky and robots on the ground.
We looked at the invisible cyber shields protecting our hospitals and power grids.
And we weighed the life-saving benefits against the deep moral risks of speed and responsibility.
I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, building purely on the themes from the text.
It is a very important thought.
The text tells us that a machine does not have a conscience. It cannot take moral responsibility.
Because it is just a machine.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a deep, final question. If we let machines make the ultimate decisions of life and death, what does that say about our human conscience?
It is a question that requires a lot of careful thought.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep thinking carefully about the balance between technology and humanity. Until next time.